by saying, I love you. These were the last words written by my father just before he died. A letter written in the Philippines. My mother and three of us, myself, my brother, and my sister. And these words came later when my father died in the United States. His body was brought to the Philippines, and then afterwards, maybe after just in time when his body was arriving in our home, his letter came. His body came before his letter. And as I read through the letter, I sensed a real love story of my mom and my dad. And their love story is such a lovely memory for me. I have been a witness to their years of hardships, years of helping each other, years of working together and trying to raise up the kids. They were not a rich couple. They were not a rich couple. They had a regular employment, but their aim was to send us, the three of us, to the best school in the Philippines, which is the Ateneo. And normally only rich people could send their children to that school, but they worked very, very hard so that they could send us. In fact, they also sacrificed staying together in the country, in the Philippines. My father and my mother decided that, okay, let's try to sacrifice a little, maybe spend several years apart, and then the American dream, the Filipinos usually would have that American dream of going to the United States and living there. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But what did happen was that they were able to send us to school, send us to the best college in the Philippines. Their love story started in the office. They met in the office. My father was a supervisor there in one of the insurance company. My mother was a clerk. And it was only afterwards, after maybe three of us were born, when my mother realized that my father was an undergrad. He was an undergrad. And so that was the first thing they did. My mother encouraged my father to study, finish his college. I remember picking up my father from school. Instead of him picking me up from school, we were picking up my father from school right after. And then I think it was evening school. And then when my father graduated from college, he was promoted. To vice president. But still, it's a small company. It's a small insurance company, family-owned insurance company. Vice president of that company is not a big deal, but big enough for a couple to say, hey, you did something good as a couple. We help each other succeed. My father was a very shy speaker. He didn't want the limelight, he didn't want speaking in public. But my mother was wise enough to encourage my father to take up public speaking. And that's why when I attend Toastmasters, I always remember my father also. He would tell me, you look at your audience like a bunch of potatoes. So that you will not become nervous. Of course, that's not what we teach here with the Toastmasters, but still he was able to break that nervousness, his stage fright, and he was able to speak. And thanks again to their love, they were able to break through one of my father's weaknesses, which is speaking in public. And my mother was his number one listener, his number one audience. My father too was not athletic. In fact, he would play basketball and he would shoot at the opponent's court. But then my mom would cheer. She would still cheer and encourage my father to become athletic. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we were not rich. So we had a dream. They had a dream. They included us in a dream. I can remember so many arguments when my father really wanted to resign from work because he was not so satisfied until they decided, okay, let's try for a bigger dream. Let's try for a bigger dream. Let's try for the United States. And so they did. And you know how hard it is to get a visa? But lo and behold, my father got a visa. He got a visa. And unfortunately, we were not able to go there. They ended their love story. They ended it with love. Thank you, sir.
I don't know how to say it.
Thank you very much.